broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Here's your host, Andrew Romanella.
Okay? Like, just get the hell out of here. Nobody cares what you think if you're not a Mets fan.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of the Rome Show, broadcasting live on YouTube, Twitter, X, and Instagram. I'm your host, Andrew Romanella, and we have a special show for the people today. It's Monday, January 19th, 2026. If you're in the Northeast, I hope you're staying warm and safe with all the snow pounding down on us. A special guest host on the show today. I was fortunate enough last week to sit down with the head baseball coach at Marymount University, Mike Cassidy, and we did not just talk Division III baseball, ladies and gentlemen. No. We talked college football playoff, Indiana versus Miami national championship game tonight. We talked National Football League, coaching carousel in the National Football League, and of course, our bread and butter, Division III sports. It's an hour-long conversation about every different sports topic we could think of, and it was a lot of fun. You can comment live on the interview, youtube.com/the Romanellas. Also, we ask you subscribe at youtube.com/the Romanellas. Twitter, X, and Instagram. Follow us, The Rome Show 1. That's The Rome Show, then the number 1 OG. Facebook.com/the Rome Show. Without further ado, guest host Mike Cassidy on The Rome Show.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Rome Show. I'm sitting here with not only a colleague, but somebody that I'd consider a friend, head baseball coach at Marymount University, Mike Cassidy. Mike, welcome to the Rome Show.
Hey, man, welcome to MU. We've been looking forward to this. We've been talking about this for years, so
for a long time. For those that might not know the history of Mike and I, we'll keep it simple because we want to talk some college football, some NFL, maybe some Division III sports if we have enough time. I've known each other now for 4 years, coaching against each other in the same conference. And I think every single time we saw each other, we're like, dude, we got to get behind a microphone.
Yeah, when you first told me about this, I was like, I had just started doing a couple podcasts here and there, mainly, recruiting and just state of baseball stuff, ABCA, things like that. And I was like, this stuff is fun.
It is.
When you told me that, I was like, let me know, man. Let's get on.
Well, what we'll do is after this show airs, we will ask, we call our fans the Romo Sapiens. We will ask the Romo Sapiens what their thought process was. Usually what I've learned is when it's not me alone, more people tend to watch. So we'll probably get you on.
I love it. I'm a Virginia boy. I hope I don't offend any of the New Jersey fans.
I don't know. I think I do enough offending on my own, as you know. So I don't know if you can do anything to hurt that. All right.
Because we're going to have some rivalry talks when it comes to football. We already know that.
That's a great point. Let's start with football because I got here today and I saw you wearing your Miami uniform. And over the last few weeks, I've had a lot of opinions on the college football playoff, both from the format to the love for the SEC schools, to anything in between. All right. It is a generalized topic, but I just kind of want to start by getting your thoughts on, like, do you like the 12 team? Do you like where it's matriculating, or are there some things you'd like to see changed?
So let me start off with the jersey. I do like Miami. I'm actually a huge Notre Dame fan. This is a Sean Taylor Miami jersey who played for the Skins before he passed, and he was my favorite athlete of all time, probably. So I figured this is probably going to air, next week.
Yeah,
and I'll be pulling for Miami
just in time.
I'm actually a huge Notre Dame fan.
Okay.
So that Irish blood, the Cassidy bloodline, it was sense. The Redskins and the Irish were, from day one for me. But speaking about the format, even before Notre Dame was kind of like the last team out, and let's be honest, they get almost every year because of they have so many fans.
Yeah,
so
they want them in. That's a good brand for them to have in.
Yeah, and so they've gotten in sometimes, probably when maybe they shouldn't have, but they were the odd man out.
An honest Notre Dame fan. It
is.
exists.
It is. Like people were asking me before this, and I was like, Miami, Notre Dame, these other schools, like Miami's or Notre Dame's going to get in.
Right. I didn't think it was. I had when it came out, I had to look at it multiple times. So I'm like, nah, there's no way they left Notre Dame out.
So with that preface, like even before I want more football.
Yeah.
At any level.
Yeah.
I want college football. I want NFL. So I've wanted them to keep expanding the field, to be honest.
Sure.
And I know every year somebody's going to get left out and they're going to talk about it more, but dude, perfect world. And I know it's football. We got to go week by week, but I want something similar to what the basketball does.
I agree. And I know it might be difficult to have 64, right? Like that. I get it. That's an extreme amount of teams. It's a different sport, right? They can play 2 times in a 4-day span. Football can't do that. But when you look at the FCS and you see the way the FCS has been handled for a while, that's not a scenario where it's like, oh, this is new also. They've been in tournament format for as long as I can remember, back to when they called it D1 AA football, right? So for me, I agree. And I feel like you're going to keep expanding here. The one thing that I'm concerned with is why the conferences still somehow find a way to not matter as much. And I think that also weirdly hurts Notre Dame. And I know that sounds crazy because they're not in a conference, but because people start making the argument that a conference matters, then they start looking at Notre Dame first and saying, well, then they should never be in. And it's like, well, can we have it both ways where we have enough teams that we respect the conference champion, but we also have enough spots, Mike, that we can get the at-large Notre Dame type team in as well?
That's exactly what I mean. I think whatever conferences you slot, have it big enough where there's the same amount. If you're going to let 6 conferences have an automatic slot, right? Have at least 6 spots for schools that aren't in a conference or just did a great job or lost their conference championship. It being
that would be the Alabama slot this year.
I mean, you want the best teams in there that are playing the best at that time.
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel if you're Duke right now?
It's just wild to think that. I mean, it's crazy to think because as we sit here and like we said, towards the end of this thing, we'll get more into our actual career of D3 baseball. But I tell these people all the time, you and we have to fight for wins. And more times than not, we're like, we have to win our conference championship to know that we're guaranteed a chance at the tournament. Mm-hmm. Whereas it's wild to live in a world to believe that it's like, hey, we're good. We've won these 5 games. So whether we make the SEC, the ACC, the Big Ten, whatever championship, it might not even matter. Like I can't fathom as a head coach being my path. And it's cool, but it also muddies the water because then it's like, it's less black and white then as to how to get in. Way more gray area.
And I think that, I understand the argument of making conference more, or, very important. But, when it comes to fandom, like the NFL and college are so different, like especially the SEC in these small towns of ACC, like when school's not in, it's a ghost town.
Yeah.
Like, and then on Saturdays, there's 110,000 people watching football and going nuts over it. Like that passion's not going to go away, whether their team can get in. Like the players are going to feed off of that.
Right.
Like conference is always going to be important.
Yeah.
But you just talk about the same thing with it minimizes going to bowls. You don't have these kids that are out if they're not going to one of the big bowls either. They're thinking about where they're going to go next, or if they're going pro and things like that, getting ready for the draft, or if they're going to transfer, that's the peak time, which is we could talk about that whole timeline like everyone else in sport forever. But I don't think in college you're going to lose like rivalries and things like that if you're putting more importance on just making the tournament. I think every Saturday those people are going to go nuts, and the players and coaches are going to feed off of that.
You're right. We're talking to Mike Cassidy, head baseball coach, Marymount University. I'm excited to be down here. Where are we? What part of Virginia are we calling this?
We are in Arlington, Virginia.
Virginia.
We
beautiful place, by the way.
It's awesome. This place is beautiful. We are the closest county to Washington, D.C. So we're the most north. We're just divided by the river.
You give me the most feel like driving past New York City and New Jersey, because like there's no other feeling of being on a highway and seeing major buildings that everyone in the country knows. That I got that feeling driving here when I drove past Washington, D.C. today. It was really cool.
You probably had a really cool drive coming over. Yeah, like that GW Parkway. I take that I don't care what traffic says. I take that road every day. Time. I drive right past the Pentagon, go down the river.
It's cool.
And before all the hectic stuff, I see the monuments and everything like that. So, I got a long drive every day. So
but it's nice
getting up into this area, I at least take in the scenery.
Sure. Well, I got the meta glasses and I'm like, I got to record this. I'm like, I got to drive my car. Like I got to drive my car. Right.
Dude, so I need to get better with that. My wife just got me those for Christmas and she's on me about them. And
they're awesome.
I went to the Oakley booth and I was like, can you guys at ABCA? I was like, can you guys just give me a tutorial on this? I
was like, bro,
I don't need all this AI stuff. Just how do I take some pictures?
That's so good. That's so good. I did the same thing. All right. Before we break down Miami and Indiana, because that's where we're going to finish our college football talk, you mentioned the rivalries, and I agree with you, right? Like, rivalries are entrenched in the history of sport. Like, I think about the Eagles and the Giants for one that hits close to home. Like, anytime you get Philly and New York together, insert sport, but specifically in football, they hate each other. How do you feel, though, that Notre Dame and USC are in this weird place right now with that rivalry? Because I feel like when one like that falls, that then starts to scare me about the rivalry domino. Does that make sense?
I do. Again, it does make sense, but I mean, the landscape has changed so much. This has been kind of a slow trickle anyways.
It's like a slow death on that.
Yeah. And if they were in a conference together, I don't think you see it going away.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, they're always going to, but there's schools in Notre Dame's case that they've played for 50 years and then changed the schedule.
Yeah.
And they're off, so yeah, I would like to see them play more of the old school schools that they did, but I understand that, matching up with the ACC, as long as they're playing some of the better teams in the ACC, it's going to make their schedule better. Cause it's kind of like what you said, going into a tournament knowing you're going to make it or not before the conference. They don't have that.
Right.
So everything is strength of schedule,
right?
For them to get in. And
that's a wild way. That's a wild way to build your schedule, though. Like, because, and you do it every single year. You're like, all right, well, I want to play great teams, but at the same time, I got to set my team up for success. So I can't necessarily just go with, okay, let me play teams that are all ranked top 25, because it's like, as you know, every year is so different. That could be the opposite of positive for Notre Dame. And then you're working your way back from that. So I can't even imagine having that burden. And by the way, Marcus Freeman, he might be the hottest name with all these head coaching openings. Now, I saw he came out. He said he ain't leaving. But as a side note, I know we'll get into the NFL in a little bit, but I was as a Dolphins fan, like, he might be somebody that I'm interested in. But he came out and he said he's staying, which is good for the school.
He's a stud, man. He's a stud. And I think this is new. He doesn't have some long head coaching career.
What is it, 4 years?
I think it's all been like 3 or 4 years. Plus, he sticks up for his son. Did you see that?
Loved it, dude. I watched the video like 5 times, and not one, because it wasn't fully clear, but 2, I love that. It doesn't matter what his name is. He's there for his family, his son, and I could get into the wrestling coaching thing on a whole, but we won't go there.
Hey, man, I was a wrestler in high school too, so I love it.
The state of New Jersey loves wrestling. All right, so Miami, Indiana. I have been praising Curt Cignetti for the last probably month, as has everybody in America, as he deserves, right? More or less from my standpoint as a head coach than necessarily caring about Indiana winning or losing. Now, I really have truly looked at this game and I've gone like, we might have, at least right now, the best defense in Miami and the best offense in Indiana, and 2 of the hottest head coaches. I don't know if Cristobal is the greatest head coach. I also don't know if Cignetti is a great football guy or more of a great motivator. You figure those things out over time. But right now in college football, Mike, I don't know if you have 2 better head coaches going at each other.
This is a fun one because Miami is so physical. I mean, they beat people up.
Yeah.
And Indiana, coach was at MU years, which is 2 hours down the road. So it's kind of like when he left there, I was like, why are they going to Indiana? You know,
isn't that crazy?
He was just in the national championship, for the smaller division.
IUP, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
And then he went to JMU, did the same thing, right?
And then boom, like it's here. He's got something wild, and his guys don't leave.
No. In a world where guys leave to go to what they think is better or bigger, they don't.
So I'm torn on it. I'm gonna root for Miami. But so much respect, and especially again him being coming out of the state of Virginia. It's really cool to see. So you got the physical, especially defense of Miami, going up against a team where I think it's very similar to baseball. They don't make mistakes. Indiana just does not themselves.
Never.
And I always compare it to like tennis. Like the best at tennis will just sit back. They don't have to do anything extraordinary.
Sure.
They'll just sit back, make the easy plays.
Yeah.
And let you unforced errors. Yeah. They'll let you beat yourself. And that's what that team reminds me of.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous, dude.
It is.
Because they're consistent.
It is.
They're consistent.
And Miami is giving up only like 14.9, 15 points per game right now through this college football playoff run. And I fight this battle, Mike, because I am a firm believer that defense wins championships. Like, I'm not giving you anything yet behind the curtain. I believe in pitching and defense in baseball. I believe in a defensive line that can get to the quarterback in football. And I believe in making a team feel you from a defensive standpoint. And Miami, to your point, has the combo of it, though. Like, they're athletic, they're smart, they're physical, and even when it feels like a team's getting yards on them, their bend don't break mentality deep in their own territory. It's almost like a team gains 60 yards, but somehow they then knock them back 20 before they get the field goal chance. And you don't see that often. And then the history of Miami, you don't necessarily think about. You think about a lot of other things.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really cool way to have gotten this team to the playoff. And then, oh, by the way, their offense is good enough when it's clicking. So it's hard, right? You see a team in Indiana undefeated in uncharted territory, and you say to yourself, do you really believe it? And then you see a team in Miami who it almost feels like the little engine that could, but they're not. But that's the way people look at them because of who they're going up against.
Miami's got a quarterback that is a winner.
Yeah. It's like 36-5
in the biggest stage in college football.
Yeah.
And they've got a freshman that is just
Tony,
the best,
dude.
Maybe the best all-around athlete player in the country.
And he started college at 17. That's ridiculous. Like, dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds now, like, thinking about that is wild.
Well, and that's what I was going to say about the defensive side. I'm with you. I think, sometimes it's not as fun, but winning's fun.
Winning's fun.
But
I'll win anyway.
I think offense will win you a lot of games in the regular season, but postseason, and we'll talk about this with the NFL playoffs as well. And there's one thing I'm going to kind of go against with that with what I'm talking about right now.
Love it.
But to me, running game and defense in any playoff, pitching and defense in baseball, but especially big time college football and NFL, that's what seems to win every year if you actually look at the final game of the year.
Yeah. You're 100% right.
And but Indiana's just so damn consistent on both sides of the ball, and then before you know it, they go on some run against a team that should probably be beaten, and they're up 20 points.
Yeah.
Like, so it should be an awesome game. This should be a good one because it's you got Miami from back in the day.
Yep.
But two schools that really haven't been there in a while, and Indiana never. So,
and I just don't see Indiana, even if they play their best football, I just don't see them blowing this team out. Like, I just, I guess if you really look back at Oregon and you look back at Alabama, you probably thinking about it. Let's say we did this podcast 2 weeks ago. I think you would have said to yourself, I could see them getting blown out, like really breaking it down. But there's just nowhere in the playbook do I see Miami losing by 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, And this game opened at 7.5. So you're opening, Vegas is opening this game at 7.5, which goes to just tell you in the simplest of forms, not even from a banana standpoint, from the standpoint of what people think is going to happen. Automatically, everyone assumes that the touchdown or greater, that Indiana is better than Miami. And I think to finish, I'd love your prediction here. I think it's going to be a scenario where Indiana wins. It feels like one of those destiny-driven scenarios for me. In fairness, and go back on the Rome Show podcast, wherever you listen to your podcast. I've been saying this from the jump, but I think it's going to be more of like a 36-28 affair, 30-24. Not insanely high scoring, but I don't think it's low scoring either, because I don't think Miami's going to win this game 14-10. So my prediction ultimately is going to be 31-24. Indiana wins.
I'm going with the U. I'm going with the guy who has won. And I'm going with the defense that you said it. And like, how do you get college kids? They're bought in with that bend but don't break. Like, that's a tough thing to do, because when you're bending, anxiety goes up. So if they can stick to that, and they're not, if they're holding them fourth down inside the red zone, or holding them to field goals instead of touchdowns, I think you're looking at a 24-20 type game.
I like it. All right. So we'll see. We'll come back and we'll see if
somebody's going to get murdered in this game.
Yeah, we're going to come back.
It's going to be fun. It'll be over.
It's going to be like that. No, I don't really mean to bring this up, but the Notre Dame, Alabama. Oh, I was on, in fairness, I was on Notre Dame hard. And I remember watching that game being like, I don't know what I was thinking here. I lost my credibility.
Waited my whole life for that.
That's so good. You're listening to the Rome Show here on location. We are in Arlington, Virginia, as we learned, not too far from the nation's capital, sitting down with Mike Cassidy, head baseball coach at Marymount University, which, by the way, I'll do some recruiting. Fantastic place. So check it out. Google's a thing. All right. So we talked college football, and I've been wanting to get your opinion on the NFL. And for multiple reasons, less about the games and who's winning and losing, who might win the Super Bowl, but a little bit about the head coaching carousel, and more so about the parity. Because something that we talked about together last week in Ohio was kind of how, like, you don't really know who's going to win. There's no really Josh Allen, but big time names as quarterbacks in the playoffs, and a lot of young head coaches. So start wherever you'd like, and we can roll through the NFL playoffs and our thoughts for the people.
I think it's wild. I mean, how about the 2024 quarterback draft class?
Which is,
I mean, Daniels last year goes to the NFC Championship game, and then now you got Nix, May, and Caleb, down to the final four or final two in each division.
It's a great point.
It's wild. It's wild. And they're young, but so. I used to argue with my friends about this all the time. I think coaching is overrated. Okay.
From a coach himself.
I know, right?
No, it's so good.
But I know. Well, there's obviously a balance. But I think that, and this is where I'm going to kind of go back and forth on some stuff with defense and an elite player in Josh Allen.
Right in on YouTube, Twitter, X, and Instagram if you want to combat Mr. Cassidy here.
But I think in general, the coaching is overrated unless you're an elite coach.
Sure.
And we're not talking picks, but I mean, like the teams that I'm looking at, that everyone's away from the two elite coaches that I see in this playoff right now are McVay and Shanahan.
Oh, yeah. I think Shanahan is the best coach in the league, because I think people hear San Francisco 49ers, and I think that they hear Christian McCaffrey, and it is a franchise that's been one of the top 5 franchises probably in the history of football. But what he's dealt with over the course of his 8 years there, injuries, quarterback. Think about it. Who would have thought you're in the postseason with Brock Purdy, but Mac Jones had to cover 4 to 5 games of the season? That's coaching. So
and they kept winning.
And I couldn't agree. Those, if you were to ask me the two right now that win, lose, or draw, win the Super Bowl this year, don't win the Super Bowl, it doesn't matter, that I'm plucking for my team if I could, it's McVay and Shanahan.
I don't think I can go away from those guys.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, when you compare it, I think the other coaches in this are great, but God, those two, when they're on, it's just right down the road from here. We had the same amount of injuries, the big players.
Yep.
And you know, we went from 12-5 to
essentially 5-12.
5-12. Yeah, exact opposite. And it's tough. And there's a reason behind that. Like, you know, you lose 3 of your starting players, that's 1/3 of your lineup in baseball. You know what I mean? So it makes a big difference. But those guys just seem to be able to just keep it, like, get the wins while you're just trying to hold it together. And then, you know, losing Kittle is huge. But I think on the NFC side, it might not be the popular pick, and I might be totally wrong with this, but I'm going to roll with those two guys, I think.
I couldn't agree with you more. And that's where, on the flip side, going into this thing, you look at a guy like Sean Payton and you say to yourself, you know, I've seen it a lot of times in this moment, and I get it. He only has 1 Super Bowl. I don't agree that that's the defining factor. Do I think a guy like Matt LaFleur is a different conversation than a guy like Shanahan, than a guy like Peyton? Yeah, because there is a little bit more success with the lack of more than 1 Super Bowl than with LaFleur. But you're right. And when I looked at this playoffs, Mike, 3 first-time head coaches in the playoffs and 1 second-year head coach in the playoffs, how hard do you think that had to be? I mean, like, you took teams that were 5-4 the year before, and you're not only in the playoffs, you're winning a game, you're moving on. Like, that's impressive to me. And I think that's the other factor of this playoffs that's kind of cool. It's like you do have those vet guys in the coaching ranks, but you also have these 3 dudes that are younger that's like, is this the future? And by the way, they're all under 40 years old. Crazy.
It's wild. Like, I can remember when McVay was with the Redskins. My dad owns a furniture delivery company, and so they do a lot of work with the Redskins and Caps around here. Like when they buy something really nice, instead of like having IKEA, you know, deliver it, they have some people come out. And I can always remember he goes to Dave's house, knocks on the door, and like this kid answers the door, and my dad was literally like, "Yo, your parents home?"
Stop that. And he's like, I'm the
he gets back and they're like, yo, you know that was the offensive coordinator for the Redskins.
That's awesome.
And I mean, yeah,
speaks to the youth.
Yeah, these guys are smart. I think you're coaching a different type of athlete now, like the old school guys, the leader of men. Like, I think these guys are great at it, but I don't know if it's as important. I think they relate to the players a lot better. You know what I mean? And we see it a lot with our generation that we're coaching. Like, I got to show up in nice Air Maxes or Jordans or something just to do something that's related. I think guys relate more to that stuff than, you know, the rah-rah. You know, you got to do that every once in a while, but you know, the Tomlins, the Harbaughs, they know what to do. I think they're going to need to get their types of guys, the veterans and the young guys that are just more hard-nosed. I think these guys coming in, that, you know, players are smart. They understand the X's and O's and things like that. And I think they really feed off that with these younger coaches, you know, when they have these diabolical systems. I think they think that's cool. Yeah. You know, and there's a lot of things you can get done when your players think something's cool. That buy-in.
And it doesn't matter how old they are. That's the other thing. Just because these guys are getting paid millions doesn't mean they still don't want to be motivated by the guy in front of the room.
Again, they were at frat parties 3 years ago.
Right.
They're pups.
You
know,
that's exactly right. All right. Now, the quarterback conversation's been interesting in the National Football League the last few years. Okay. And I want to get your thoughts on this because this was the first postseason we went into where you weren't seeing names like Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. Yeah, we got Aaron Rodgers, but we got him for like 60 minutes and he got destroyed. You know, I saw a stat. It was like, this is the first time since 1998, a guy named Manning, Mahomes, or Brady haven't been in the postseason. I think that stuff is cool. Okay. That to me means that it's anyone's game and there's more parity in the league than ever. A lot of people have told me, though, they think it's an indictment on where the quarterback position is. What are your thoughts on that?
So, especially with the playoffs, this is where I go,
opposite.
AFC. To me, like, screw defense, screw elite coaching. Right. Like, this is where the side where I'm like, yeah, coaching's overrated because there's one elite player like that's just above and beyond everybody else in the playoffs, and he's banged up.
Sure.
But on the AFC side, I go the Josh Allens.
Sure. 100%.
To me, I like you have that guy without Burrows, without Mahomes.
There's another one I forgot. Burrow.
I mean, without anyone who's been there, done that, that's on his level. And I still, man, like, just as a one-on-one player, I don't know if there's any of them that can do the things that he can do.
No.
Just so big, so physical, like, literally. And I think they did a really good job this year. I know he's banged up now, but I think they did a really good job for like 10 to 12 weeks. Just hold it, keep it down, like, stay safe. Play a little bit, less aggressive. And then get to this time of year and take the leash off and go, and I think that's what you're going to see the rest of the playoffs. Again, I know there's probably better teams, but to me, this is where I'm going with probably the best player in the NFL, and just see how far you can take them. I think they could actually do it this year.
He's who tells me that I don't need to draft a guy that played in the SEC, that played at Georgia, that played at one of those big name schools. I look at guys like that, Lamar Jackson, right? Like, I know he's not in the postseason this year, but guys that are perennial great quarterbacks in this league, like a Josh Allen, who went to Wyoming, it really just kind of reminds me, like, hey, you know what I need my franchise to do? I don't need them to just blow their first round pick on what the media tells me is the best quarterback. I need them to do their due diligence. And I don't care if they draft a guy from the FCS. Okay. I don't care. You can give me Jimmy Garoppolo for all I care, if that's the guy you think is the best player for our franchise. And I think Josh Allen's a great example of that. And then on top of that, like, just like that will to win, that grit, the Bills have never really given him all the weapons he deserves. And they are arguably a top 6 team in the league every single year.
Yeah. No, I think along with his just, God-given amazing talent and ability and size. I don't know if it was the QB show that he was on or if it was Hard Knocks or what, but watching him, like, dude's a sponge. It seems like we could do this. Everybody can be like, oh, that's a really nice guy. It could be a total jackass too, away from this, when the cameras aren't.
What do we know?
Yeah. But like he seemed like everybody loves him, humble as hell. And sponge, trying to learn, trying to get into the biomechanics, change it. Like, you're the best player in the NFL and you're still trying to tweak your arm angles and things like that. So, to me, in any sport, like, finding that talent, we all want the talent, but it's just as important. The grit, the drive, the person, the leader, all those, the cliche intangibles. But it really, you put a group of guys like that together and you're going to win a lot of games. You put that ability, that size with that attitude, and that's when you have the superstars, the real special ones,
the real elite ones. Talking to Mike Cassidy, head baseball coach, Marymount University. I told everybody prior to this show, we are not just going to talk baseball. That's not the type of dudes we are. I wouldn't have a radio show that talks about all sports if we were only talking about baseball. So we'll get there, but I'm going to finish with the NFL because John Harbaugh was hired a day before we did this. And, when he was released by the Ravens, fired, the terminology I'm supposed to use, it just hurts my heart as a coach. He was released by the Ravens. It was easily everyone's favorite head coaching candidate, right? Now he has since gotten a deal with the Giants. I think it's like 5 years, nearly $100 million, and 8 more vacancies exist, okay? I'm a Kevin Stefanski guy. I think he'd be great for the Dolphins. Mike Tomlin actually has to be traded for, so he's not really on the table. Is there anything, one, give me your thoughts on Harbaugh, and two, like what are your thoughts on the vacancies here? Because it's a wild NFL offseason.
But with Harbaugh, so much respect for, I respect consistency, man. I can remember, before the Nationals won the World Series, and the Capitals were like this too in this area. It was like, always going to the playoffs year after year after year, and people would be complaining because they don't win the big one,
right?
Well, I'll tell you what, especially with the Nationals, it was a lot better when we were winning 100 games every single year and not winning the World Series than what it is right now. I feel that, and I think people got a taste of that with the Caps after they won it and didn't do so well for a couple of years, and now they're back in the playoffs and things like that. So, like, especially in professional sports, any sport, anything in life, man, consistency. Like, I have so much respect for that, and I'll take going to the playoffs every year.
Give me Tomlin.
Just give yourself a chance, because anything can happen in the playoffs. Just like we were talking about what might happen, coming up, and what's happened in the past week of the playoffs. But
think about Andy Reid. I think about that all the time. Like, the Philadelphia Eagles fan was ready to get rid of Andy Reid. Now, don't get me wrong; they've gotten 2 Super Bowls since. I'm not like, I mean, in theory, it worked out for both franchises. But like, look at Andy Reid. Yeah. They were so ready to get rid of him. Yeah. Could be the best coach now in the history of the NFL.
Numbers don't lie, man. It's so true. Don't lie. But with Harbaugh, like, at first I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'm tired of the team an hour and a half from here being way better than us every year. So, get him out of here. And now he's going. Now he's going in the same division. I was like, yeah, Miami's beautiful, dude. Nashville's a great town. Like,
Las
you're
Vegas.
Older, just enjoy some warm weather down it, And now, this morning it's like, oh, great,
twice a year. One of my players texted me this morning, the Giants are back, and I was like, but like, I don't disagree with a Giants fan that's super stoked right now. Like, I don't know, when the Dolphins fired McDaniel, as a pure fan, I believe that was a response to John Harbaugh being released by the Ravens. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, well, they're only making this decision because there's got to be some opportunity for them to get him. He didn't even interview with the Dolphins. It pretty much was like, the way it looked like it was it was the Giants or bust, right? So now all these other franchises, right? Because I think it started with him and now it trickles down. Now I think it's like a race to figure out who's next. I got Kevin Stefanski as an option. One I wrote down was Robert Saleh, obviously former Jets head coach. Looks a lot better now than he did when he was
doing what he's supposed to do.
Right. Yeah. Chris Shula's name's been coming up. It's the defensive coordinator for the Rams. He was actually the defensive coordinator for Michigan when they won the national championship. I didn't know that. And then a few others. Jesse Minter, the defensive coordinator for the Chargers. He's the one that was the Michigan guy. Okay. So there's a bunch of different, but coordinator comparative to head coaching experience, I feel like are 2 completely different things. And I think that's the hard part now is you missed out. Kevin Stefanski is one other guy that has head coaching experience if you believe in him. Mike McDaniel and Robert Saleh. But are those really the options that your franchise is going to believe in? That's the tough part.
Yeah. What if Harbaugh had gone to the Steelers?
That would have been awesome. I I think that would have been awesome. That would have been more fun for me than him going anywhere else.
But I'm here. Or yesterday I was hearing Shula's probably the top guy for the Steelers, but I don't know if that's changed.
I was hoping that. Well, first off, I don't like any of them. Not in a bad way. It's just like one of those cycles of head coaches where it's like there was that one guy, and now after that you're just trying to figure out who the next best guy is and hope that you get him.
Yeah.
And I like Stefanski, but at the same time, is that what is he actually? You just don't know. It's just a crapshoot.
And is it gonna stay this way? Because I mean, you're gonna want the guys who are still coaching right now. They're always those coordinators are always the hot guys. Like last year, Kingsbury.
Oh yeah.
If he had wanted to go, he could have gone anywhere.
Well, it looks differently now.
And it's a whole lot different now. Yeah.
It's crazy.
So, like, which one of these guys are going to get hired?
Yeah.
When they shouldn't.
Yeah.
But I think it kind of goes back to what we were talking about before. With if you're a smart general manager, I think you got to look at these guys and not be like, oh my gosh, it's John Harbaugh, or oh my gosh, it's Stefanski, or name your coach you're interested in by name, but say, all right, these are the guys that we know are coming back for the next 2 or 3 years on contract.
Yeah.
Whose personality fits best with the core of our team, and then try to build that. Because I mean, I think that's going to give you a lot better GM coach relationship when you're trying to pick players too.
Oh yeah, I think that's so huge. I think that we're almost done here on the Rome show with our special guest Mike Cassidy, but I'm going to tell the fans right now, I'm a believer that he should be back on the show. So Mike, we're gonna have to make this work again, because as we get deeper in the playoffs, I think I can't drive to Virginia every week, unfortunately, but I would love to get a little bit deeper into the X's and O's of it, because I think that when you talk to a coach about sports, don't matter the sport, I feel like the perspective is so much more fun. It's because you get the player perspective, you get the coaching perspective, but from your standpoint as a D3 head coach, you're also the general manager. You're out there trying to figure out, like, I want to recruit this kid. I think this kid's good for our program. So put that bow together though, because you're wearing all the hats, right? And so that's why for me it's fun to talk to a coach about any sport. But let's wrap that up to yours. Now, what's it like? Like, we sit here talk about this, the NIL type of football. Give people the perspective of a Division III head coach, because I have multiple times on this airways talked about it, and I think I speak way more positively than people would assume, and I feel like you'd be somebody to get a good perspective from on this.
I think overall it's a blessing, and you have to remind yourself, the old adage, I don't have to do this, I get to do this today.
That's me behind this microphone,
because you're wearing every hat.
Sure.
Like, we're at ABCA and we're talking to all these coaches at different levels, and it's like, there's my ops guy, there's my, and the best thing that I do is I've been lucky with it, but I'm very good at picking the right people, like great people to have around me.
Sure.
So like recruiting wise and things like that.
You do have great people. Yeah, I can second that.
They're awesome. We're nowhere without them. But, I didn't realize being a head coach, you had to be a meteorologist. We don't have our own field. We have a great place to play at, but we share that. And for years, we just didn't have our own place. So, if we have a game canceled, like, we can't just be like, yeah, come down tomorrow. That's fine. Yeah. Or bad weather practice. We can't, it rains in the morning, but nice in the afternoon. We can't just truck out there in the afternoon. Somebody else is using it. But, you're just at the Division III level, you're wearing a lot of hats, and you got to rely on really good people.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's not a lot of money to pay those really good people. So I think it's just like the players, you start trying to find the guys that have a real passion for it.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way they're going to do it for little amount of money, tons of time.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those coaches too, like, dude, we're having a bunch of babies in our staff right now, and
exciting
and I'm like, come in whenever you need to, like, get your work done or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's no rush to get back. Practice is in another week. Take your time, hang out with your family, your kid's got a basketball game or something. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Go hang out with your family. Like, we're around each other enough. Like, we put a lot of time into it because we love it.
Yeah.
But like, there's a broader picture here.
Sure.
And I remember Andy Reid talking about that with his staff, saying, like,
oh yeah,
none of our guys better miss like a family event, and that's the highest level, or a kid's game that they really feel like they need to be at, and things like that. So, but yes, at our level, you're it's so much more enjoyable when things go well too, or even when things don't go well, because you are wearing so many hats. So.
Yeah. So I'm going to go both ways with this. First, talk just about in general from the student athlete standpoint. Like, what do you feel like the vision from a Division III student athlete is? Like, I get a question a lot, like, why do kids play D3 sports? And my biggest answer is they love it. Like, I mean, at the Division III level, in my opinion, and I'd love your thoughts, I think the true driver is the passion for the sport. I sometimes make the argument the Division III player might love their sport more than the Division I or Division II kid, because they're doing it without getting any financial return. Do you feel like you have that same perspective?
I see a lot of it. I think it's I think it's changed a little bit. And you've been at different levels, so you understand the type of players. But I think that since everything has changed in college sports, the ability level at our level now is like, it's crazy. Like,
wow.
There's kids that are on our team that they wouldn't have even come on a visit 3 years ago, So if you are here, it's because you love the game and you want to be on the field.
Yeah.
I think that's the huge thing, because you have a lot of guys leaving Division I programs that are getting money, but they're not playing.
Right.
So they come to schools like ours, and because they want to get on the field.
Right.
Like,
perspective changes.
It does. But see, that still tells me that they're here for the passion,
right,
and playing. Because if not, they could just sit on a roster for 4 years and just be done. But they make some money. But they get to tell everybody, I was a Division I baseball player. So true. I guess it's just different. It's ever evolving.
Yeah.
Like, every single year. Well, I feel like the last 3 years has been totally different.
So different. It's like wild. You go into the summertime and you're like, okay, what are 5 I didn't realize I need to worry about this year that I didn't have to worry about last year? And I actually think as the NIL era and the transfer portal era have kind of matriculated, I find that we have greater health in our level than I ever realized before. Because one, we're obviously, tuition driving schools because we're not giving money out. But more than anything else, I think that as much as you see the good stuff on TV, is double down on the bad. The kid that maybe thinks he's getting this money or gets released from a roster, whereas they come here and they get straight love from Mike Cassidy. He's going to be my coach for 4 years. There's no politic in it on how much scholarship money he has or how much scholarship money he has or what's his NIL deal. It's just straight up like, love the game, work hard, and the best player plays.
I think something people don't realize, like in our case, 3 years ago, we brought in 9 guys, I think, whether it was Division I, Division II, or JUCO. This baseball's good. I'm telling you right now, half those guys didn't play.
Yeah.
Or are still fighting to get on the field. It wasn't just like, welcome, and they're just better than everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to say about the guys who have been developed in your system, in your culture. And guess what, people? From high school through college, you can get better.
It's wild.
It's a crazy thing to think about. It's not just plug and play, everybody. Like, literally, guys do sit their freshman year and then are a stud for the next 3 years.
Oh yeah.
And there's a such thing as for men, like an adult growth spurt. It's like that 19 to 22, like guys, it's almost like the high school growth spurt. Like, guys get bigger.
Yeah, except for me. Everyone except for me.
Yeah, I never grew.
By the way,
didn't happen until I was done playing.
That's it. I think it's only my stomach that grew. The example to bring our whole show full circle here is Arch Manning. Okay, because I think a lot of people find it very easy to get on Arch Manning, and I think it's great. It's easy to root for him. And it's not because his father is Eli Manning and Peyton Manning's brother. No, it's because that kid went to Texas, probably made more money than everyone on the roster, probably had more of a star on him than anyone else on the roster, sat behind Quinn Ewers, didn't sit behind Joe Burrow, Cam Newton, nobody. And Quinn Ewers a Dolphin and whatever. And that's no disrespect to Quinn.
Yeah,
Ewers.
you're starting quarterback.
Right. Possibly. Oh gosh. That's it. That's the next show. Right. And then makes the decision to stay. Then on top of that, goes through the trials and tribulations he goes through this year, then makes the decision to stay again. To me, 15 years down the line, that's a guy that I want in my foxhole, no matter what the job is or the career or whatever. And I do feel like you get that aspect of it from this level because that's truly what it is. I can't really, if I come to Marymount or Centenary or any of these other schools, and I come my freshman year, I'm not coming to one of our schools to leave. I'm coming here for 4-year experience. So I have to be able to accept my freshman year of if I'm sitting, okay, but I can get better to your point and improve my sophomore year. So to see that at the highest level, and you make that point, to be honest with you, I think back to some of my favorite players I've ever coached. I probably didn't play them my first 2 years. Like but it's crazy but I think to your point, I guess you don't even realize that as a coach. It's like, that's almost more fun than the kid that comes in that's all conference right away.
It is.
You know?
Yeah, it definitely is.
And that's more here, I think, than anything else.
I agree. And because, like, I have so much respect for Arch, because I mean, we got me and three of my best friends from high school. We've got a little golf group. We go out, play 2-on-2 all the time. We got a group chat. We call ourselves Back Nine Boys.
That's great.
Once
shout out the Back Nine Boys.
and the play gets worse in the Back Nine. That's why, once we've gotten through the first 9 a little bit. But like, our whole group chat was, week 1 was about Arch Manning. Like, we all love him, best player ever, and like, it didn't go that way.
No.
And the amount of pressure that's on that young kid, and throughout the whole year, he got better and better.
Yeah.
And who knows what's going to happen for him next? But like, he didn't ask for any of that.
Nope.
And these guys who have just elite talent that can get to a school like Texas, or name your Power 4. If things aren't going well for them, it's very easy for them to jump ship, because anybody's going to take them.
Correct.
Anybody's going to take them.
Yep. Makes sense.
So yeah, nothing but respect there. People get on him hard today. He's jealous.
And by the way, we are not disgruntled Division III transfer portal baseball coaches here. We're actually the opposite. We are people that believe in the transfer portal. I just think that there's a line there. Like, you have to look at it and say it's not right for everyone. Like, some people, the right decision is to stay. My dad used to say this all the time when New York Mets would sign elsewhere, and it ended up being true. Jose Reyes, great example. He'd be like, he shouldn't sign somewhere else. I was like, Pops, man, they're giving him more money. And he's like, yeah, but it's the typical, it's not always greener. Sometimes the best move for a player point would always be is to stay in your organization, because it's not about the money, it's about who's around you. And I think about that all the time. Like, that's the transfer portal to me. No. You should think about it if you're unhappy, or if it's available to you, it should be something on the table. But sometimes it is okay to make the decision. Whereas I think we got to a point where it was like, yo, I'm just going to leave. It's like, well, the option's always on the table, but take a second and really figure out what you want.
Look, I have no issues with the transfer portal. I think as we go further and further, it's got to get more organized, and it will.
Sure.
But 90% of the people in the transfer portal are probably like, the transfer portal is not what you think it is. It's not 4,000, 5,000 just stud players. Right.
You can't just go pluck and play.
Most of them are just like, I don't like it, and I'm out of here. The top guys, like, that's what you see on ESPN and things like that. But that's very, very small part of the transfer portal. The way I think of it, and this is why I'm perfectly fine with the transfer portal, is it me, you, any other coach in history, if they have a good year and they want to take another job,
they can.
See ya.
Look what just happened with Lane Kiffin.
Yeah. And it's been like that forever.
Ever.
And I think at the end of the day, give it a few years to really, unless you just, it's not the right fit.
Right.
You're depressed. You don't like the area. You came here for a couple of days and loved it, when you were being recruited and stuff, but you're living here now, and it's not right. It's affecting your life.
Yeah.
Then you need, but if it's a sports decision and you do like it enough and you get good grades, and you like your coaches, see what happens with some development.
Yeah.
And then you take off, and you can either decide, man, I want to leave my legacy here.
Yeah.
Or, my next goal is another school.
Yeah.
But if the coaches have always been able to do it, I don't see why players can't do it.
Yeah.
It's just not right.
I mean, I transferred before the portal was a thing, and legitimately the greatest decision I ever made. All right. We finished with this because I think it's right. I believe, and maybe I'm naive, but there's a lot of Marymount baseball players fired up about this show, as they should, right? They're probably their favorite head coach in the history of time, and then me. So just give me a little bit, because I think the boys deserve their due, on how you're feeling about the team. For those that don't know, Coach Cassidy came off winning the conference championship last year. The 2025 Atlantic East champion. I believe you won more than 25 games last year.
24.
Oh, I was close. That's my favorite number. That's awesome. Something that we in our program and a lot of programs are looking to get to. So, Coach, coming off a championship year, I know that every team's different. No year is ever the same. How are we feeling about the boys? And you don't have to give me any insider info either.
No, it's all good. We're gonna find out here soon enough. So, we talked about it. This was one of the most fun falls that I've ever had. I've been here for 13 years, 8 as an assistant. This is year number 5 as a head coach. We started the program here. This is one of the most fun fall baseball seasons I've ever had.
It's awesome.
Now, again, there's a lot of love. We just had our first child. So that probably impacted it too. But I tried to relate it to when we won in 2021, like how that fall was compared, like that team compared to this fall, and all the stuff we had to say to kind of ground them. And that was an older team. This is a very youthful team. It's very exciting. This group, they're hungry. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
We got a really good mix of older guys and a lot of really good young guys that in a normal year probably would have played a lot more last year. But our team was very veteran laden and had done it the year before.
Yep.
And didn't really do anything to come out of the lineup. So, when you have a team that is really close, and off the field, and they like to work out, like
it's so much more fun.
They like to practice. Like it helps me as a coach on those days where if I'm tired or something, like you step up to the field and you can just feel the energy.
Yeah.
And everybody's a national champion after the fall.
No doubt. We all got a chance.
I think there's so much uncertainty with this group. Like it was an awesome fall, and we know that we're going to have some young guys out there playing, which it's like there's probably going to be some bumps in the road, but who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe there's not.
Right. Doesn't have to be that way.
Doesn't have to be. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Tony, he's perfectly fine as a freshman,
Exactly
right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the really, it's just a cool uncertainty type thing. Like coming out of fall last year, the lineup we had was the same exact lineup we used in regionals. Like we pretty much knew besides maybe one position.
Sure.
So that's all I can say. I think it's just gonna, if it's at all as fall as the fun was gonna be, no matter what our record is this year, it's gonna be a really cool season. It's kind of like a re-jump and really try to send these seniors out on a high note. For this group is our senior leadership. This is like the type of team that they really like. They're more like them.
Yeah. That's cool.
So we'll see how it all comes together. Everybody's excited, everybody's pretty driven because a lot of them wanted to play last year.
Yeah, that's the best place to be. I'm going to say this off the top of my head. I might be wrong here, but I think it's April 10th and 11th. If any of my New Jersey metropolitan area people that are avid, I know, just love the Rome show, and they want to come out, I think that's when Mike's coming up to Hackettstown, New Jersey. I don't know why that's on the top of my head. It must have been I was scheduling the other day, but come check it out. And the one thing I would say before we end here today, and it's just a general note, Mike kind of said it, and I want to reiterate it. Like, if you don't know what D3 sports looks like, not just D3 baseball, D3 sports in general, but D3 baseball most specifically, come check it out. And I don't know if we have kids listening here that are trying to get recruited, or if we have parents listening to this that have a kid that want to go to college, but like, until you see it, you have no idea. And so that would be the one thing I'd say. Come out and check it out, because it's really good.
Yeah. And please come out, unless you look and we are ranked at that time. Like I always want to be ranked. Don't get me wrong. And I don't know if this team will be ranked or not, but if we are heading into that weekend, don't come to the games. Last time that happened, they kicked our ass all over the field.
It's so good. I appreciate it. Mike Cassidy, Marymount University. Mike, bro, thanks for joining the show, man.
This was awesome.
All right.
It's awesome. Appreciate it.
We'll have to get you back on.
I'm down.
Thank you for tuning into today's episode of The Rome Show. And thank you to our special guest host, Mike Cassidy, for taking the time to sit down with us and talk sports. We'll be back tomorrow on youtube.com/The Romanellas. Make sure you hit subscribe, Twitter X and Instagram, The Rome Show 1, facebook.com/The Rome Show. Until then, you have an electric Monday. Hopefully it starts your week off right. Andrew Romanella, see ya. Peace.
Thank you for listening.